My closest friend of 40 years has blocked me from any and all contact with her. Not me. My wife, and not over politics, but yes. A longtime friend of my wife stops talking to her because I didn't let him take advantage of us. He basically tried to con my wife into buying a $10,000 car that needed a ton of repairs. I told him I was going to take it to a mechanic, and when I did and the mechanic recommended not buying it, he got all sorts of defensive and just stopped talking to her. Took her a good year to get over it. I supported her and kept telling her, he's the one who tried to cheat us. You should be upset, not him. But it still took a long time to get over the loss of friendship. Denying that she had cancer is pretty serious stuff. People do develop mental illnesses. You've done your best to contact her. You can just mourn the loss and move on. I am so sorry that this has happened to you. If you think of it this way, would you still be friends with them if you met them for the first time today? If people change, especially this drastically, you are under no obligation to keep them as friends. You have the right to reevaluate your relationship. I'm sorry that has happened to you. It's certainly sad at the loss of the friendship for so long. From my experience, you can't make her like you or spend time with you. The more you try, the more she'll pull away. You have to accept it. And maybe one day she'll come back. Same. A friend since kindergarten. Exact same thing. Except she also left her husband and kids, lost her business and house, and is currently living with her shut-in elderly mother. It's so sad. Some people go too far down rabbit holes. Nothing you can do. My best friend of 25 years and I also cut ties this year. Her husband is a schizophrenic who won't take his meds, and by she is getting pulled into his world. On top of his mental health, they drink a handle of vodka in like a day or two. It hurts. But sometimes friendships run their course. I realized I would never feel safe being around her husband, and I can't feed into it. Sending hugs. It'll get easier, and that doesn't mean it's forever. There could be a reunion if wanted. Edited to add after reading other comments. It's gotten worse since the pandemic, and he is also a Trump supporter and radicalized thoughts about the pandemic being brought on by the government and etc. etc. It seems to be a theme here. I think this became a little bit more common during the last couple of years because a lot of people got radicalized during the pandemic. It's kind of like losing someone to a cult. I guess this happened to a lot of people, especially in the United States. Sounds as if she might have fallen down the Q-hole. Thanks for the comments and honest opinions. The issue of mental illness hasn't been far from my thoughts. Yes, unfortunately. Only I was the one who cut it off. I ended a 12-year friendship. I was her maid of honor, etc. Because she was posting so much pro-Trump stuff and going to his rallies and giving him money. I'm queer, and I ultimately had to take a long, hard look at our friendship and what that meant about her as a person. I didn't ghost her though. I told her how I feel about it, and how honestly it was starting to not only make me uncomfortable but also to make me feel unsafe, and that I loved her. And if she ever changed her mind about all of that very far-right stuff, then she's welcome to reach out to me. But that I couldn't in good conscience support or be friends with someone who agrees with so many hateful things that are said about people like me. I asked her to picture my face every time she hears something hateful and ask herself if that's okay. Then I wished her the best and moved on with my life. I'm sorry that's happened to you. It's happening a lot. Has this happened to anyone else? Yes. I just try to make sure the ball isn't in my court, and I've reached out. Seems like you've done all you can do. I don't know what to say about political differences. I think they're so silly, but yeah, they cause rifts. Sorry. I'm sorry that you've lost your friend. It may sound exaggerated or hyperbolic, but she's effectively part of a cult. Whatever rabbit hole she has fallen down into and subscribed to, it will be just like a cult. There won't be any room for outsiders such as yourself. And it's with regret that you've lost your long-standing friend of 40 years. I'm sorry for that. There will be many responses here that will say, time, grieve, and to move on. Good riddance, etc. They have a point, but it's never that easy. My advice is perhaps slightly different. Write to them. Nothing big, nothing dramatic, but send them birthday and Christmas cards. Send them well wishes. Write a few lines giving an update about yourself if you wish. I wouldn't expect a reply. In fact, I don't think you'll ever hear from them again. Maybe your notes and cards will go straight into the bin. But maybe they'll get read. You aren't going to be able to change their mind or their deep-seated views. But you can write to your old friend. Just don't expect anything back from them. That's the best I can offer. Maybe that gives you a sense of closure. Or a sense of trying. All the best. Yeah, I cut ties with my very best friend of 30 years when he went down the conspiracy theory rabbit hole. Tied himself into knots defending January 6th, and began making deeply racist remarks couched as political opinion. I did grieve, but I grieved for the friend he used to be. Not the person he is now. I don't like the person he is now. And if your friend is doing things like teasing you for wearing a mask and throwing in shady comments regularly, think about whether this friendship is viable anymore. She doesn't want contact. That's clear. I get feeling hurt, but you can't save her. She's decided her political feelings are more important than the friendship. And honestly, if you've gone toe-to-toe with her over politics and are upset about her denying having cancer, it sounds like you have too. I'm not saying that's bad, that's exactly what I did. I decided my principles didn't encompass accepting someone who advocated what I view as treasonous activity. It sucks, but that's the landscape we live in right now. My college roommate recently unfriended me on social media, and I suspect it was because of a difference of political opinion. We barely even discussed politics. I don't like getting into friendly arguments with him because he always ends up taking everything personally and attacks you for random things that happened 10 years ago. Oh, you think people should wear masks? What about that time 10 years ago you misidentified a wire in your car? Don't sound so smart now, do you? Quote, he's a mechanic. If those people don't want to be your friend, then they aren't your friend. It sucks, but that's just the way it is. Just learn to let go. I have a couple more friends that have ghosted me and I have no idea why. Mutual friends have no idea either. The lack of closure sucks, but what are you going to do about it? R. Fox Brain, R. QAnon casualties, you are very much not alone. A similar thing happened with a person I used to consider a close friend. He just went down the Q rabbit hole and started increasingly pivoting every conversation into politics. I told him straight up that I didn't want to turn every conversation into a political debate. But he just kept trying. It eventually got to the point where I couldn't even send an innocent, non-political meme without it becoming a political argument. I eventually just cut him out of my life entirely. Because it just wasn't worth the stress it caused me. It sucks. But it happens. I've had this happen. It's tough. I guess at the end of the day you realize if they can't even give you closure, they are selfish and you were better off without them. I want to emphasize for you that it is not worth it. There are fundamental, core differences between you two, and your attitude towards your fellow humans. At this point it may simply not be healthy for you to keep kindling a relationship with someone hateful. My parents used to be Republicans. At least, that's how they identified. Grew up Idaho. Mormon, military, etc., etc. Trump finally opened their eyes and they let loose their humanity. Now, all of their best friends are confidently open, hateful, racist, ignorant bigots. While my parents keep their mouths shut, and even hide that they're vaccinated. My parents work to maintain these lifelong relationships. Why? I ask them. Why? These people are openly cruel to our family's status. Hispanic GSIL. Gender neutral GS. Trans GBF. Gay nieces, nephews, etc. And yet my parents want them in our lives? To what? Preserve a 50-year friendship's history? To what ends? Higher attendance at their funerals? Your friendship has run its course and probably wouldn't survive the coming decade of open fascism. Anyway, people grow and change across decades. I think you should enjoy your beautiful memories and let your friend go. Take the opportunity to form new friendships on the basis of who you have grown up to be. A thoughtful, considerate, critical thinking human who values your fellow human. Yes, a college friend cut contact for whatever reason we still do not know. She moved back to New Jersey after college and for her 30th birthday. 2 friends and took her out for the weekend in NYC. We stayed at a hotel, had dinner that night, went out to a bar after. The next morning we had brunch, went shopping and thought everything was just fine. We were all having fun and chatting. Suddenly she said she had to go. She forgot she was going to make dinner for her boyfriend, who we had met once before when they came to our city for a visit, and his friend. And then she up and left. It was odd and we thought it was out of character but just figured she just genuinely forgot. So we went home and tried to contact her a week later. She had blocked our phones, unfriended us on Facebook and boshily disappeared. A mutual other friend who lived in NYC said to us, about a year later after trying everything to figure out why she went no contact, told us cryptically, she will tell you why in her own time. Okay, what? That was 17 years ago and not one of us has heard a peep from this friend. Still have no idea what happened.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Ericast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.